The following list of equations are all what I classify as quadratics in disguise. The first one is x to the fourth minus 10x squared plus 9 equals 0. The next one, 3 parenthesis 2 minus x squared plus 10 parenthesis 2 minus x minus 8 equals 0. The next is 3x minus 4 times the square root of x equals negative 1. The next one is x to the negative 2 minus 6x to the negative 1 equals negative 8. And finally, x to the 2/3 plus 5x to the 1/3 plus 6 equals 0. Now let me tell you what qualifies these guys as being called quadratics, which means second degree equations in disguise. Each one of these have the property that if you let u equal the middle variable, if you square it, you'll get the larger variable. Example. On the first one, I have x to the fourth minus 10x squared plus 9 equals 0. Let u equal the middle variable, x squared. Now square that. Remember when you take a power, you raise it to another power, you multiply the exponents together? So this is x to the 2 times 2 if I square it, and what does that make? X to the fourth. So indeed, when I let u equal the middle variable, it gave me the larger variable. That means that we could do a u substitution and make it into a quadratic to solve it. Let's grab one of these equations and solve with this method. Step 1, let's identify what u is. Let u equal our middle variable, which in this case is the parenthesis, 2 minus x. Then, when we square it, we get 2 minus x to the second power. That's step 2, finding that u squared is the larger variable. Okay, so let's go on to step 3. We're going to substitute our u into the original problem. It gives us, let's see here, 3u squared plus 10u minus 8 equals 0. And the next step is we're going to solve this equation for u. Let's just make sure our numbering's right here. We did step 1, step 2, step 3, and now we're working on step 4. Step 1, identify u. Step 2, show that u squared gives you the larger variable. Step 3, substitute the u's into the original problem. And step 4, we are solving for u. Okay, we're going to factor the non-zero side, 3u minus 2 times u plus 4. Set each of those factors equal to 0. Now we can do that because the product equals 0. 3u minus 2 equals 0, union together with u plus 4 equals 0. The left side gives us u equals 2/3. The right side gives us u equals negative 4. Okay, now be sure to do this last step 5. The question was asked about x's not used, so we have to go back to substitute the 2 minus x in parentheses for the u's. So the u equals 2/3 is actually 2 minus x equals 2/3. And the u equals negative 4 is actually 2 minus x equals negative 4. Now solve each of these two equations for x. Move the 2 over. Okay. And get rid of the negative sign. We're going to have to get rid we need a common denominator so we can add these two fractions together to get negative 4/3. And then get rid of the minus sign by multiplying both sides by a negative. We get x equals 4/3. Now work on the other one. 2 minus x equals negative 4. Move the 2 over. Negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. And then get rid of the negative and we get x equals 6. So we have two solutions. Let's write them in set form. Curly set bracket. List the values of x that satisfy this equation. Let's go to the last example we'll do here, and that is solving the equation x to the 2/3 power plus x to the 5x to the 1/3 power plus 6 equals 0. Let's do step 1. Let u equal the middle variable. The middle variable is x to the 1/3. Now let's do step 2. Let's check to see if u squared is the larger variable. That would be x to the 1/3 parenthesis squared. Multiply the exponents, you get x to the 2/3. All right, this means that this is indeed a quadratic in disguise, so we can move on and solve the problem. Step 2, substitute the u's. We'll get u squared plus 5u plus 6 equals 0. Now let's solve for u. Factor the non-zero side, u plus 2 times u plus 3 equals 0. Set each of the factors equal to 0 and solve. We'll get u equals negative 2 for 1. Union that together with u equals negative 3. Now, important step 5, substitute back the u replace it with x to the 1/3. So x to the 1/3 equals negative 2 union together with x to the 1/3 equals negative 3. Then the last thing we have to do is get rid of the 1/3 power, so we'll get u to the first. So let me ask you, what do we raise x to the 1/3 power to in order to get x to the first power? And the answer is you raise it to the reciprocal of 1/3, the upside down, which is 3. Because then when you multiply 1/3 times 3, you're going to end up with 3 over 3, so it'll be x to the first power. So raise both sides of the equation to the third power in order to get x to the first, and do it to both equations. And we'll get x to the 3/3 equals negative 8, union together with x to the 3/3 equals negative 27 when we raise negative 3 to the third power. And finally, that means x to the first equals negative 8, union together with x to the negative 20, x equals negative 27. Okay, so our solutions are the following set of x values. Negative 8 is a solution, and negative 27 is a solution.